If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. If you're seeing things running through your head, who can you call? Ghostbusters! An invisible man sleeping in your bed. Oh, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If you're all alone, pick up the phone and call Ghostbusters. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Ooh, I hear it likes the girls. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Who you gonna call? If you've had a dose of the freaky ghost, baby, you better call Ghostbusters. Ow! Let me tell you something. Mustn't make me feel good. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Don't get caught alone, oh no. Ghostbusters! When it comes to your door, unless you just want some more, I think you better call Ghostbusters. Ow! Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. I think you better call Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. I can't hear you. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Louder, louder, louder. Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Who can you call? Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. It likes the girls too.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from its slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It was all in a flash.
he did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From a laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash,
They did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They did
smash.
the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
they did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included the Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, while we're digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by his baying owls. The coffin bangers were about to arrive.
I ain't afraid of no ghost. Who you gonna call? If you're all alone, pick up the phone and call. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Ooh, I hear it likes the girls. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Who you gonna call? If you've had a dose of a freaky ghost, baby, you better call Ghostbusters. Ow! Let me tell you something. Bustin' make me feel good. I ain't afraid of no ghost. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Don't get caught alone, no, no. When it comes to your door, unless you just want some more, I think you better call Ghostbusters. Ow! Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. I think you better call Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. I can't hear you. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Louder, louder, louder. Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Who can you call? Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. It likes the girls too.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from its slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster
the
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It was all in a
he
flash.
did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From a laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash,
They did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
they did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun.
Better shoot,
The party had just begun.
better shoot,
The guests included the Wolfman,
better shoot.
Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking while we're digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by his baying owls. The coffin bangers were about to arrive when the vocal group, the Crypt Kicker
They
Five,
played the mash,
they played the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They
smash.
played the mash,
It caught on in a
they
flash.
played the mash.
They played the monster mash. Out from his coffin, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?"
It's now the mash,
It's now the monster mash,
the monster mash.
and it's a graveyard smash.
It's now the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
it's now the mash.
It's now the monster mash. Now everything's cool. Drax a part of the band. And my Monster Mash, a hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, just tell the boy sent you.
Then you can mash
Then you can Monster Mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
Then
smash.
you can mash.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
Then you can Monster Mash.
Monster mash. Monster mash.
Get back now.
Monster mash. Monster mash.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sino. This is my water bottle, and it is the first time I've come back to console in a hot minute. It's been a couple of months, if you know, you know, but I am happy to be back. I hope you guys are happy to be back on this channel. I mean, it's different. There's some different faces, there's some different teams, but the biggest thing is we have the Halloween theme. Today, the lineup is Zave versus VoID, an OG team versus a little bit of a newer team on the map itself. My favorite, Nighthaven Labs. I mean, the map is newer, it's exciting, and it just shows us so much potential. It's just one of those maps where you think, oh yes, we get to see a Nighthaven match. But as of now, it's about the players that bring us to the map. You could play a Nighthaven game, and it shows us absolutely nothing promising, and the guys get 7-0'd, and we're home in 30, 40 minutes. But hopefully that's not the case today. We'll have VoID on the defensive first, alongside with Zave on the attacking, and it'll be a little bit interesting. But considering this is my first console cast in a minute, a little bit of a disclaimer. The first thing is going to be, I'll be the solo observer, producer, and the caster for today. That's not how it's going to be. If we see a positive outcome of these streams on console back again, we'll bring on a co-caster from PC. We will have an observer, and I will stay as the producer and the caster, because that's just how I used to run it, and that's what I'm used to. But focusing more on the game, we have Nighthaven upstairs as the first site of the game. Now, a lot of things are important about this site. The first is to defend electrical with a means to an end of keeping it locked down, because if you lose control of electrical and connection early on into the round, you allow the attackers to slow down, take a second, and just build up that attack. Now, something the defenders have going in their favor, if they know how to use it correctly, is the destructible ingredients. Now, Nighthaven, it didn't get reworked, but it got a little bit of a revamp, which means there are now fire extinguishers and the gas pipes all over the map. This can be beautiful for either rejecting the shield ops or anything else that is quick of rushing fashion. Now, first blood goes in the favor of Mystic. He takes care of Irish. Say goodbye to your roamer for the rest of the round, and they're not going to have to get used to the round without him. And now the attackers are going to be able to, you know, take their sweet old time. They won't have to rush anything. It's a man's game, and with the current state of Siege, there's no certain meta except for taking the sweet old time to get things done. Now, getting the wall open is definitely one of those things. Now, they do have a bandit ready to trick, but he's already a long ways away, and with that verticality established on storage, it's a risk to even stick your face onto it before you get your toe shot out from under you. DKEG also on the roam. He should be discouraged a little bit, considering Irish did get picked up very early on into the round, but there is a full 2 minutes left to be played, and with Monty pushing up Warehouse and Rafters so quickly, the defenders are going to have to be proactive. Your guys are going to have to get somewhere, somewhat on the board, whether it's get a kill, get a ping, but there's already a live ping on the man who sits on storage, and Ariel gets on to swing. 5v3, the triple wall is about to be open. That's 2 breaches opened with plenty of time for these attackers. The C4 burned off as well. Only 2 impacts remain as the passive utility here for the defenders. They have no picks to show for it. I mean, Cade, a little bit of tiptoes, but he still cannot find anything solid. You guys need to get a body on the board. I mean, Goyo now is going to be preferred on the TCSG ever since he lost his ACOG on the Vector. But still, regarding of the magnification scope, you're going to have to use something to your ability, whether it's to get a kill on the board or halt these attackers. They are not going to stop. Trippin managed to actually bandit trick off that triple wall, which allows them to slow things down for now. But Zofia has those can openers spare, and she has another one just in case. Monty possesses the smokes to get rid of those Surya gates, and it's a lot that they can do together as a team to discourage this defense. Now, Aruni put in a horrible spot. Monty teams up with the Thermite. They'll take care of business. That's a trade. It'll be a 1v2 on that situation. The Aruni will fall, but on the far side of the site, you'll just see Ariel going nuclear. That'll be Zoc gone. Trippin tries to fight back, takes care of Aerial, finishes him off, but he was already a DBNO, meaning you are in a 1v3. It's a 1v2 right now. That bomb's going down, so temporarily you lose a body. You isolate. It's a 1v2. You would have needed to ace, but Bomber has you dead to rights holding down that door. And it's an easy kill, easy round, and Zave for the first on the board. Lots of takeaways from that specific site setup. Now, you usually see players with a setup that extends out into rafters, but for some reason, we were seeing a setup that kind of was a little confusing. I mean, it's passive in a way, but it's not passive that benefits the defense. I mean, you can bunker down, yes, granted, you have the ability to do so. You have the assistance with everything, such as the destructible ingredients, all the way to the amount of trap ops and the things that you can do to slow down these attackers. But when you restrict yourself to cutting off those head holes, when you restrict yourself not being able to keep this wall closed, you don't have any verticality play, you guys just keep yourselves confined to the spaces of the A and B chassis, and you'll see exactly what happens is the defenders just stay confined, the attackers take their sweet old time, find out what they can do to pick them apart, whether it's on to move up rafters or to just apply pressure on any area and just push on that thread until they find something. Now, lots will be taken away, but still, it's the first round, and it is a BO1. So, VoID, you guys don't have any second map or third map to save you, but you have the ability to come out the gate swinging. First round loss, yes, doesn't work out in your favor, but you can bring it back, slow it down, and just hope for the best. Aerial, prolific fragger though. I mean, we saw 2 gaps that he could have found, and he pulled on it until there was nothing left. He capitalized on the opportunities alongside with Mystic. Mystic only has 1 kill and actually got traded out later in the round as well, but still managed to get a kill on that spawn peeking vigil, which allowed the attackers to take their time, knowing they're up in a man advantage. Now, verticality control is going to be established. They're going for a soft roam clear. Now the essentials is to clear out storage and then from there work your way up. They'll take care of storage and then billiards and then move their way on into lounge. But Bomber takes a lot of damage. Jay goes down to around 75 HP, so the defenders are actually in the upper hand here. All they have to do is keep that wall closed, play as a team, make sure you guys don't get baited out successfully, and you are in a beautiful spot. Sikori takes some damage from outside of the garage walls, and Monty tries to establish that pressure from that mud room, but Frost is getting a little carried away. She's lost her magnifying scope. She's lost her ACOG scope, and she's not allowed to get too aggressive, but apparently not. Jay rewrites the definition of not able to, takes care of Sikori, and now that is the garage pressure completely disbanded. You have Zofia waiting below, but she's already used her impacts on the man, trying to deny the breach. The Monty goes down to make matters worse. Bomber gets a refrag onto swing, but DCAT gets Aerial in the meantime. He's come up from the flank and decided to get his hands dirty. A 2v4. And the attackers are now in a 2-man deficit with the case loose in the middle of garage. Bomber, you are also very low. You have to be careful. If he runs to this breach, he can very well lose his life to the electrifying effect. But if I'm not mistaken, the effect actually doesn't take damage. I think it just slows you down, eh? Mystic goes down, still not out though. Has a second chance at life, but good luck getting across there without being shot by the 3 bodies waiting for you to cross. Oh, Bomber, you're gonna have to spray and pray because they're all waiting to get their piece of the pie. VoID get themselves right back up on the board, and now we're a 1-all. Interesting lessons from either side here. I mean, VoID, it looks like something just clicked in between rounds 1 and 2. They went from not being able to keep site locked down at all to successfully baiting a Monty out into a frostback, getting their picks outside of garage and taking care of business. And that is the type of defense I want to see. That's exactly what you're going to need, especially on a map like Nighthaven. You need to be able to capitalize. You need to be able to take your wins where you can get them on the defensive, because when push comes to shove, when you are facing that halftime switch and you are down on rounds on the defensive, you are going to suffer. You're going to switch onto the attack with less of a mindset of how are we going to win this, and switch it to what are we going to do to be able to keep ourselves in the game. But a little bit of interesting picks here. Maybe it's differing from the PC scene, because that's what I'm used to, but we're going to see Oryx paired up with Vigil and paired up with the Scopos. Now, individually, these operators are fine. Yes, I mean, Oryx still raising a couple of eyebrows, but still, ever since he got that fully automatic, I've been seeing his pick rate go up a little bit. But right now, he's just going drone hunting, and the drone academy, or the drone economy, my apologies,
of Zave is not very efficient. We're just seeing Oryx getting the easiest points of his life, and they're losing a lot. Now, seeing this many roamers on one side either means VoID are really confident they can keep these attackers at bay before they even enter the building, or they're just overly confident. Now, getting this breach open is going to be one of the harder things that Thermite is going to have to do, depending on what wall he selects. If he selects the right one, he'll have a great time, because Bandit is only paying attention to Animus. Now, verticality of Animus has now been compromised. The hatch is now soft, so you're not giving up total control, but you're going to have to hope your Oryx and your Vigil can team up together to be able to keep these attackers at bay, because once verticality gets established, whether it's with soft breaches or just in general, that phantom pressure from above is going to be an absolute problem to deal with, because you're only 45 seconds in, and we're seeing so much pressure being applied already. The next up is to get these breaches open, and that's up to Bomber. He lost so much of his health earlier on into the rounds, and that was the biggest problem for him and why he lost his life, even though he was the last standing. Now, Sekori is the lurking operator, but Vigil's right above him now. Does DCAG know? He drops off very, very aggressively off the overhang, and the question is, does he know? It'll be a little bit of a Western standoff here. They know somebody is in the presence, but the question is where? DCAG could have jumped over to the meeting side, but he's going to back off, disengage, because it's the better idea, keeping yourself on that board. Now, you're going to see how that investment pays off, because Bomber is going to find Irish, which means that's one less roamer to worry about. Scopos getting carried away. That siege timing for Chaos, a little bit of a whiff, but the last 15 bullets will do the job, and now it's DCAG, the sole roamer, to do his job. Only one man took damage on that whole attacking roster used by the name of Mystic. Make it Ariel, who's now deceased. That's one shield up, one remaining. And DCAG now has a problem, and that is deal with the attackers who are starting to pull up on you. Shut down by Sekori. He doesn't need the help of his teammates, and now Hawk is going to come up as well. It's a four-man roam. I mean, it's a high risk, a high reward, but Trippin is by his lonesome, only has his Vulcans to rely on. The breaches are now being opened, and there is no C4 on the board. Hawk, you have vertical control, but you don't have anything on site. With the Animus hatch being open, you can do whatever you want, but Sekori catches you off guard. 3 shots directly to the dome is enough to end out the job, and that's the second attacking round for Zave, as VoID are struggling to catch up when they play overly aggressive. Now, is it a lesson for them to learn? I feel like the answer is yes. But again, we've seen a lot of teams, time in and time out, continue to pursue their one-dimensional ways of attack or defense. And if that's a VoID situation, then I think we're not going to have a very long night. But still, we saw a contrast of different defensive rounds, so I really, really hope they will switch it out eventually. The next site. I wonder what VoID's going to do with 3 rounds remaining. Now, Denari genuinely is one of the most underrated operators, is what I would have said last week. But if you had paid attention to the very underwhelming amount of patch notes that had came out either yesterday or the day before that, Denari has received another nerf. So his activation of those trip connectors isn't as fast. The time has been reduced. And all that's left is for them to take away his legs and say, yes, you can't move anymore, because, I don't know. I've seen operators get nerfed off of release, but Denari's been nerfed a total of 3 times already from the beginning of the test server to last week's patch. Now, the right people can still utilize him. He still has a deployable shield, a fully automatic, and a secondary shotgun. The question is, how well can you utilize him? Areas like Animus, areas like Exo are areas you need to keep locked down, and it looks like Trippin has that memo. Now, DCAG, back on that roam, is going to be hiding in a similar spot, but it won't be lurking as fast. No aggressive plays can be made here unless he decides to run at Sekori full speed and his head up where the sun don't shine. Now, Bomber, he's been taking his sweet old time as playing a hard breacher, and I feel like that's one of the reasons that Zave have managed to find 2 rounds of success. But the way his team plays around him, they look for the first kill, they look for the roamer, and they pinch until Every single option of a roamer is exhausted. Now, they've taken care of 3 roamers in about a minute and a half last round. Let's see if they can replicate that, because you already have the pressure in kitchen. You have the verticality as you see the IQ trying to lurk upstairs, and you have that Monty who's always on go mode. Just seeing the presence of him is definitely going to be a little bit jarring to come across. Now, Goyo, he's going to make his presence known, get aggressive. He'll tag out KOs once, but he's going to have another task to deal with, which is to deal with the man that is approaching from below, but Swing gets shut up by Mystic. That is the perfect teamwork we're talking about. Now, having those 2 garage walls reinforced above protects the Goyo and whoever's looking up there with him, but we're seeing the overall map control start to be lost. But finally, Irish, the absolute Dawn, manages to find a kill to be able to reel it back in, but still the defenders are trailing by a singular body. Now, yes, you have a roamer upstairs with you, but it's better for him to return back to site considering the amount of overwhelming control that the attackers will have on the site. IQ has that pressure to watch that L Hall. Another man approaches from the stairs, and Capcan goes nuclear, almost turns into an absolute whiff, but he's going to decide to retreat back to site while he still can. And Skuya lives to see another day. Hawk, I don't know how you're alive, but you've managed to defy the odds. Now the pressure being established in from Exo, but Irish, you're going to punish Ariel for not checking those corners, and that's what happens when you rush the attack. You have a minute left, that's plenty of time. Skuya goes down, and now it's just a Corey being approached by that shotgun. Will go down to just below 20 HP. Now, why you tripping is in a DBNO state. He has a second chance at life. Who's going to go get him is the question. He's in assembly. He's being picked up by Hawk, and now Irish watches that cross just in case a surprise attack in from Cargo. He has 2 objectives being completed at the same time, watching the cross and defending that case. Now, the Vulcan canisters are still intact. They'll burn for 20 seconds. The Denari prisms are going to come back online soon as well, since they've been tripped. So many positives here for the attackers, and unless they throw their bodies willingly at this lone attacker, then you're going to say this is going to be a Void-dominated round. And we can fault that because the attackers rushed that cargo play. You guys didn't drone the remainder of the roamers. You got 1, then you got 2, and then you got carried away when Jay got that refrag. And look at how he's running around crazy. He's crazed for a kill. He's hungry for it. And he's going to pay the price, but apparently not. Are you serious? Can't be losing those gunfights. You have the element of surprise, and he just looks over and takes her head off your shoulders. 2-all. And I mean, no individual performance is shining so far, but it's team performances from either side to be able to get 2 rounds apiece for either side. Staying quiet here because I'm really wondering to myself, is there somebody on an old gen? Because there's no way it takes this long to load into the game. But it is refreshing after taking a break to seeing how players utilize operators and scopes after the removal of the 2.5 for most of the defenders, excluding the slug shotguns and the DMRs. Now, we're seeing Frost still utilized, not because she has her ACOG, but because of the overwhelming amount of utility she can bring. She has those bear tracks, she has a secondary shotgun, and most importantly, her soft destruction mixed up with a shield is absolutely beautiful to be able to bring to a team that really needs the ability to rework and shape the site to your liking. Now, the Mission Impossible setup here is absolutely beautiful. I've yet to see this. It restricts any walk-ups through rafters arrogantly. It's protected by the frost mats, and anybody who walks in through the rafters door is also going to get zapped at the same time. So really covering out all the bases here, and this is what I mean. It's refreshing to see different plays of Denari earlier on into the season or midway through the season because it opens up so many possibilities even if he's been nerfed a couple of times. DCAG, lurking, waiting to get very, very aggressive here, but there's 3 attackers waiting for you, buddy. It's just not a great idea, especially when you are the lone roamer in that area, but now Jay will come to plug that leak, but you will have that disadvantage of being at range, but Mystic has yet to pull a trigger while he has the advantage of having the live pings of drones in the easy 2.5 scope. Jay walks out of that interaction with the W. He'll manage to take off 50% of Mystic's HP, but DCAG, your life is still lost less than a minute into the game. I mean, the man economy of Void is not looking the best. They've suffered a casual amount of fatality so early on into the round. It's not normal, especially for the defenders. Tripping. defending Waterfall all by his lonesome. No castle to keep the below area blocked off, so he's just going to have to use straight intuition to be able to prevent. Gas pipe is going to be popped out earlier. No mistakes will be made there by Sequoia, and the C4 from below will be utilized. Mystic losing even more HP. You can just blow a gust of air in the man's direction and he will fall. Ariel getting his first taste of what Denari's gun feels like, and now we're going to find ourselves with just 90 seconds left and a lot to do. Hawk is now going to translate electrical into connector and right back into electrical. He is in a pivotal position to keep these guys on the edge. Kuya finding out the hard way what pressure feels like. He'll hit that bullet sprint effect, which means you cannot sprint, but you will push. These defenders successfully back in from electrical. You sit close to the shotgun. Hawk, what are you doing? You've just now opened up the whole defense. The laser is visible, but the question is from who? Ariel doesn't matter. He'll shut him out, and the plant decides to go down. It's just Jay left by himself in sight. Flawless, narrowly avoided, but still so much more done. And you will continue to struggle because your team falls one by one. You're picked off like individuals playing a singular game. It's not team FPS for you guys at this point. The site is open. The first picks are completely against you guys. The utility falls everywhere. And that is exactly why it'll be Zave to lead so far. One more round for VoID to get it right, to tie it up. That means they'll walk away from the half at the disadvantage, regardless of what the outcome of this round is. If they walk out of this with an L, that means they go down 4-2 on the split, and they're going to have to come back on attacking, which genuinely and generally isn't a player's favorite to do on Night Haven Labs, especially with the new changes. Or they tie up 3-3 and they're still at the disadvantage because they've wasted 3 rounds that could have been easily winnable. Things to say to you, VoID, but just not enough time to say it. The only words of motivation I have is just keep pushing. This game can be very mental from time to time, but still, the most motivational thing is tying it up and prevailing and calling it yours. As I said before, there is no second or third map to be able to make the result a different change. You're gonna have to be able to solidify it right here, right now. Otherwise, we're looking at a completely different scoreline. If I'm not mistaken, this is a Swiss-style tournament for the first couple of rounds. That's important. Style of play, it's going to be a problem if this is what it looks like. Now Hawk, again, plugging in that roaming position. Formerly Irish, now DCAG, and now Hawk. The role isn't solidified between these teams. But the thing that is solid is these guys get carried away really fast. Hawk seems to be changing that narrative, but going to the flank still only 40 seconds relative into the round. Now Irish has now established the verticality and also has access to using that gas pipe for whoever walks in. But in the meantime, Hawk gets Mystic onto Hawk, and Bomber gets that refrag, meaning you find yourself in a 4v4 trade, but Swing absolutely shuts out Bomber. And the Doc tries to get up close and personal. Completely backs off, learns from his mistake previously, but I take that back. He just runs through the flames and isolates himself. No easy way back into sight. You tried to seek refuge by taking the one and running back into sight, but no bueno. You're taken out and Swing. Come on, man. I know you're living up to the name. It's reputable now, but still you need those bodies. The defenders, after all of that heavy lifting, have found themselves in a relative situation of 3 bodies across the board for either side. 6 total. And now you're going to have to find yourselves trying to prevent these attackers from applying that overwhelming amount of pressure. Say Corey, an absolute overwhelming powerhouse in the ability to find that roamer, pinch him out, and find the kill. Attacking benefit has now been given, as they have now the one-man advantage and the ability to push through electrical with all of the time they need because the passive utility is present. The flashes are there. The smokes are there. Everything needed is there for these attackers to be able to prevail. The biggest problem is that Lee's sitting close with that shotgun and the amount of goo mines that he continues to regenerate in a short amount of time. Ariel lurking in from the back, but gets shut out from IT, and now you find yourselves with Legion still as a wedge. The phantom pressure he will apply to this hop-in is very, very clinical, but Trippin at the long range shuts out the man from Electrical, and the shotgun to deliver the final blow in Electrical. It'll call the first and the second. Trippin, massive triple kill onto IT Electrical and that connector wall, and that is a very well-deserved third round for VoID. They'll head on over to the attacking side, and hopefully they'll be able to convert, considering they've been struggling on the defensive side. You're seeing how carried away they're getting. That result is a problem. Now, I'm waiting for the second bans to come on in. But already, with the way it looks, there's a certain narrative that either side wants to discourage. Now, Legion Shotgun, as we saw it utilized before, it applies so much pressure. And if you can land just one bullet, whether it's onto the electrical door or onto the connector area, you will deal an insane amount of damage, and not to mention the soft destruction that Legion now has. It's a forced loadout considering he also lost his super shorty, so you have to stick to that shotgun. Now, discouraging this, the regenerative traps, alongside with the shotgun, allows more free reign into electrical. You can be more creative when it's just a mute or when it's just a smoke. Whether it's just running out the toxic babes until there's nothing left and you just completely disengage and boom, you've exhausted all 3 toxic babes, or you have to deal with the mute where it's just the jammers and the C4 that are the biggest problem. Now, as the solo caster, I don't have a bird's eye view with a co-caster who can point out certain things. So we're covering both sides of the coin today. But seeing Monty and Maverick getting discouraged as well means that Tabaru and the Kai duo are going to be able to deny this wall beautifully. And it looks like that you're going to see a refreshing play of style from Zave. They're going to go vertical. I mean, we saw the basement site from VoID, but it was more of a traditional hold with 3 roamers that were kind of go crazy instead of a passive hold onto a 2-dimensional area. And you're going to see garage reinforced. Verticality established onto the site, and you're even going to see a sneaky little shield that faces the external of the storage window, which is a little creative. I mean, I haven't casted Nighthaven in a minute, but maybe it will in the long run. So you can see how they want to establish a connector in between the A and B chassis verticality-wise. But the question is, what are you doing for this lounge area? It's unprotected, you don't have a castle, and anybody who approaches from the 3rd floor and uses that drone to pinch you out is going to have a play day with you if they can manage to either establish verticality or get into a pinch point which completely divides you guys as defenders. Now, speaking of, you have the pincher. I told you. The defense is too spread out. Now, Seikori gets a refrag, but you're already back on site after losing 2 bodies, 2 of which were supposed to help you with the wall deny. DCAG makes matters worse on the 2nd floor, taking care of Ariel. Trippin onto Seikori in a 1v4 with the plant fully down, and Bomber runs straight into the crosshairs of Trippin, but he's completely unaware. The boogie drone completely blocks off that audio, while Bomber still has 3 more bodies to address, 2 of which are shields, or 1 of which is a shield, actually. The pressure is immense. It's an easy live ping, but Bomber shuts out 1 in a second! DCAG, you're left by your lonesome. Plenty of time here for this clutch from Bomber. That's what you get for throwing your bodies. And the lone thing that might genuinely save VoID is the fact that the diffuser is in the A site behind the pillar, and verticality is established for DCAG. Otherwise, a straight disaster for this attacking team. I don't care if you won this round. Bodies should not be dropping this easy. The knife to deliver that final blow, and VoID get themselves in the lead. But absolute catastrophe in terms of attacking coordination, as it was almost a toss of the century. So many issues, so many problems, but the leading thought in my head, the overwhelming thought in my head is we're 2 rounds away from the match point for VoID and 3 for Zave, but we're still seeing a very large contrast of gameplay. One team gets very aggressive, the other kind of plays more passive, but we're seeing issues from either side that are making the concerns look a little bit more valid. Like, why are we swinging 3 bodies onto 1 man who has a fully automatic SMG with 30 bullets in it? You know? I mean, again, it can be many things. But the biggest idea right here for VoID is to cherish that lead with your life and carry it on. Take it the full mile while you still can to put a nail in this coffin and send Zave home with absolutely no points tonight. And that's the beauty of a BO1. It's one and done, and you don't get to complain. Now, 2 lurks here. What is this attacking setup? Ariel seems to be aware of the idea here, but still, there's 2 operators lurking, ready to walk in. I mean, Irish, that's the smartest lurk we've seen. He walks up, gets his kill, disengages, because DCAG is there just waiting for anybody who makes the other mistake of walking into his crosshairs, but the pressure is just being applied everywhere. Clash to save the life of that Mute, but still, Waterfall is an absolute disaster class, and Hawk is going to prefer to try to get out, but so, oh my god. The C4, the barbed wire, and the consistent tasers give the attackers the downside for a quick second before Jay gets it back. 1, 2, 3, 4! Oh my god, looking for the ace, and he gets it! Where did that come from, you absolute menace? You find the first in Aqua, you turn your luck around, you find everything from connector to IT to in the sights. Oh no, VoID. You guys have found the weakness of Zave. You guys were doing so well, so passive, but it all falls apart to the overwhelming pressure of the OGs. First it was Trippin to create that distraction and Hawk onto Electrical, and it's just Jay to find the pieces, pick them apart, and claim the round as his. 1 round shy of that match point, and Zave, oh, you guys are struggling.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
What a round that is. So many different things to address for Zave, but such a little time to do it. That's the thing about console. It's refreshing to watch occasionally. I say that facetiously. It is so entertaining to watch due to the fact that literally anything can happen. Rarely you see a timeout getting called on console. Why is that? Because some teams aren't confident in their ability to be able to talk, frankly, as a team. And that is where we are seeing different things happen. We haven't seen either team call a timeout. There's no coach, there's nothing. And that is the beautiful part about console. The sad part of that coin is, you know, we don't have enough funding to bring in coaches, but still, there's no coaches. Teams are forced to think on the spot, and that is what makes this game beautiful. 5 players and 5 intense comms, whether you're mental chalking or you're not. It depends on the 5 who are on your screen right now. And that is a perfect moment of where it all sparks. VoID, they were showing us some of their OG strats on what to do and how to do it, but Jay, it looks like there was a call made for him to be the solo lurker or the fragger or the man who looks in for that threat to pull on from the defenders, that mistake they leave out, and he's been doing it beautifully. He has 14 kills under his belt, and he continues to look to apply that pressure onto anybody who walks in his pathway. Now the drones are preset for success onto Garage. The live pings are onto the man that occupies Rafters. Noah Zami, for now, as her ability continues to regenerate, she already has some of them preset. Now, say Corey gets first pick onto Always Swing, say goodbye to your Hard Breacher. But, I mean, he already did his job. He got IT wall open. Maybe not connector, but still, you got that job done. Trippin looking for that lurk as well. You see how each team looks for each pixel to play off of. Say Corey gets the easy refrag, but Jay finds the first and the second again. Man, how do you let it happen every single round? There's not been a round for 3 times in a row where he doesn't find a double kill or more. He'll take care of 2 before he's taken out, but he's done the legwork for his team to be able to advance. He will discourage any form of comeback as it was now a 3v2. He evened it up to a 2v2. Blackbeard helps out DKEG as they now apply that pressure of full speed. Vigil has no opportunity but go out swinging with a Pokeball in his hands. Taken care of. Hands up in the air for VoID. There's nothing to say except it's absolutely class from them. They're going nuclear, and it's just Zave to fall behind. They had a beautiful start, but now they just can't keep up. It's just JJJ, the MVP, obviously, the man of the match, or the night, as he continues to keep his foot on the gas and punish these defenders at every chance he can get. Final bans rain on in. Blackbeard, not a surprise. A very prized possession for the attackers as they do use him to take a lot of control in terms of spear. But, I mean, Ash would have been a better pick because a target ban, yes, sometimes is corny. But it's warranted in this situation. I won't lie to you. Jay is an absolute powerhouse, and he has been terrorizing this team for literally 4-5 rounds in a row now. Zave has one more opportunity to call this game as a comeback and bring it back, but so far they find no luck, and they are gonna have to continue to stare down the barrel of the man named Jay. 16 kills for himself. Perfect opportunities present himself. The closest man to him is 8 kills separated. That is a crazy statistic to have, but still amazing to have as a fragger. He was starting off a little bit slow, but still, it's all about that end product. He's managed to make himself an effective player to his team, whether it's playing aggressive or getting that intel. He has walked in through Waterfall twice, gotten a kill or 2, walked back out, and disengaged. Beautiful. Now the question is, can he do it for the 4th time to call this game his team, and whatever he wants to be able to say, we got those links and points for the night. A little bit of an interesting position here from the Warden. I mean, not having the castle, I understand you want to keep Waterfall as completely yours, but still what happens when somebody walks in vertically and only say Corey, who's a ways away, is the one to help you out. Now the shield blown up along with the barbed wire by a very interesting cluster, but it did work out. They've completely taken care of that utility, and now that opens up that pathway for Jay. He's just going to wait for an opportunity, whether it's to fly in from Raptor's window, the waterfall door, or rotate around and find something for himself. He takes his sweet old time. That's all that matters. And he has every opportunity. This is what I like to see. Now, console is very fast-paced compared to PC. You don't see executes in the last minute. Rarely do you see that. But something for Jay, he's managed to get a kill in the first minute, completely de-engage, and then engage again later on in the round, which is absolutely beautiful. Hawk put in a horrible situation. Dealing damage is 3 up, but taking 4, and has to completely disengage. Otherwise, he loses his life, and now you don't have one of these spear entries. Not having Black, not having Monty is definitely going to get into the heads of the attackers, but now they have a Fuse who's playing shields, and it's been working out so far, but not so well. C4 uses a bait. Now Swing is in a horrible spot here. DMP completely discourages anyone from swinging out, but you guys have to remember it's a shotgun and it's not Slug. Hawk opens up the first of the game. Swing followed us up onto Mystic, and now you find yourselves in a 3v5. Sikori finds Trippin, but instantly the teamwork, the refrag is light work. 2v3, the defenders get it back in blood, but not fast enough. Ariel, you have so much to do. You'll continue to keep your foot on the gas. Chaos, you need to find your kill here, but no, it's Ariel for 4. What are we witnessing? It's absolute mayhem. It's clips for either side, round in and round out. It's class from either side. I mean, it's continuous. It is continuous. It might as well just be a Hall of Fame game. Each team sets up their teammates for legendary plays. And Ariel might have single-handedly just kept his team to find either a point from overtime or to just continue to tell VoID we are here and we're not going down that easy. Still, match point is on the board for VoID, but the difference has been shut down to just 2.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
What a game this has been. Basement, the next on the board. Question is, do we think... You know what? I'm going to save that question for later. Castle being brought. Haven't seen much of him this game, but still happy to see him in general. Especially on this site. That's what we were saying was lacking in the basement play previously, and that's exactly how it was Jay and Trippin to be able to find that spear entry through an exo, find 2 kills, and go down swinging. Now, being able to do this, you'll hear it when it gets punched out. You'll have the obvious comms, and you have the proximities as well to be able to help yourself as a team. Just don't get carried away and spread yourselves out, and say Corey seems to have missed that memo. Now, no wall denies is a little bit shocking, considering you do lack to have Bandit in Kaid, but Tabaro and Mute still remain. They might not be as effective, but it still slows down the attackers and makes them think twice before getting carried away with their utility. 2 can openings used on the breach, and it's nice and easy for access onto whether it's the main wall or onto Animus, but I mean, regardless, it's easy for DCAG to find entry. Irish is already in the building here. Skuya completely lost. It'll be the first in the favor of VoID. What's new Scooby-Doo? Because it's Jay to find it. Looks to the second. Has an idea of where the Valkyrie is, but say Corey's not going to get carried away. Will wait to C4 though, but who else but Ariel to find it? It is a legendary head-to-head between these two. Hawk will go down with that shield and the cluster's intact. And in the meantime, Jay cuts off that temporary roam with that gas pipe while the rest of this team is going to find their position. Verticality is yet to be established here by Trippin, but the soft breaches from Jay will come in handy until he can get over there and start utilizing these boogie drones. Everybody else, whoever was roaming in lounge, whoever was sitting at top cargo has now retreated back to site to keep everything held down, but the verticality is horrible. It's a tough area to be in, and a dog stim is so very needed, but not before Irish can deliver that final blow. It's an absolute problem. A 7-man count, but it's in the favor of VoID, and they're the ones knocking on the door of that match point and the points that they want for tonight. Say Corey is in a very good spot to be able to drown out any easy flankers, but still, it is a problem when verticality is fully established and even more is being drawn out. Swing, looking to TK his teammate, apparently. What's that guy doing? But Ariel is watching a very important cross while Mystic is going to be dealt some damage from the verticality aspect of things. You're going to see Irish completely disengage that verticality aspect. He's going to leave Cargo alone, maybe just lurk in the area, but is going to pay the price. Oh, Jay, you just got read like a book. Say Corey will punish you for so, and now you'll be in a 3-all situation. Half a minute left, and these attackers are getting to make a decision. Do you want to get aggressive? A whiff from DCAG says no, as Ariel finds his second of the round and swing. You need to be able to land your shots right here, right now. You guys don't have another option. 2 flashes utilized, but absolutely nowhere to be found as Corey finds his second. Trippin goes down after finding a kill, and it's Ariel to find his third. The round's over, and it's an absolute problem for VoID. It's mayhem on the board for all teams, but it is Zave to show us that they're still alive, to play out as now they just trail by 1 to force it into OT. The potential last side of this game is going to be hosted on Kitchen. This game has been nothing short of straight action, and that's why I've missed console so much. I mean, just one game and we're seeing quads, aces, triples, rushes. It's been insane. We've been seeing fuse shield, which I rarely see ever. And it's absolutely amazing to witness. But still, there are many questions that have to be asked. What are you guys going to do to push yourselves that final mile to get the points on the board? Now, for one team, they want to avoid going to overtime so they don't lose any points. The other wants to push it to OT, so regardless of what happens, they will walk away with a point, whether it's an OT win or an OT loss. You'll see Zave with a point. But VoID, you guys have been making too many mistakes recently. Maybe that's just getting carried away, or they're being reluctant. We can obviously see situations where YU Trippin has those flashes, doesn't utilize them, but swings out anyway because the pressure of the time is there. It's something that continues to become a problem, and now they're going to have to show us that they can overcome their problem of being scared and just keep their foot on the gas. Now, an interesting pick here by Zave is they're going to pick Kitchen over Control and Storage. Which, a little bit of an interesting pick, but to each their own. Say Corey looking for the lurk. It's DCAG to find that engagement, but shut out almost instantly. First blood, again, 40 seconds in. We talk about the bodies dropping. I don't care if you're up 6-0 or it's 6-6 OT. It's a problem when your teammate falls 40 seconds into the round. But, I mean, doesn't really matter. You have Irish on the board who is always looking for a refrag. No easy roamers on the area of lounge or the bottom of the stairs, and all you have to do is allow Jay to do his thing. Approaching that 20 kill mark takes a sweet old time. The drones are preset in the 90 hallway. Pretty sure they've been shot already, but the second assisted from Trippin will come through. Now Ariel sits close, has Val cameras prepped upstairs just in case, but the attackers have lost their only soft breacher on the board. Ash does have those pocket breaches, but you're gonna have to get all the way up there to make a move. Say Corey back to site after getting first blood, and now it's all hands on deck, just residing on site. Now, the positioning that Corey is in is a very, very high-risk, high-reward situation. But if a drone or verticality is established right above him, oh, he's so very dead. Trippin seems to have already known that memo of what is to expect of a player that sits in that area. Corey has the right idea, sets his teammate up for a perfect refrag, but it's mayhem all over as Ariel goes down and two of his teammates get absolutely murdered in front of him. You see Swing knocking on the door of sight. After 20 bullets, he finally finds the motive of finding the kill. It's 1 and 2 for him, and it's Trippin to find the final. That's game. VoID walk away with the win in regulation as they ended out in a very stylish fashion. I mean, there's nothing else to say, but that was pure class from either side. I thought it was going to end 7-3, but it ended up going the long mile and almost ending up with that OT. But Jay, Trippin, the OGs of VoID, teamed up with the rest to consistently keep their foot on the gas. Now, Hawk is a newer player that I haven't had the pleasure of casting in the past, but the way he plays that shield up, the way he sets his team up for the refrags is always beautiful, regardless of how new he is to the team. I personally haven't been here for months. He could have been there for 4 months for all I know. But Zave, they've improved drastically. They know how to play, they know where to apply that pressure, but it's just about keeping that final nail in the coffin that really is going to make the difference between a great team and an amazing one. But still, an absolute beautiful night. It'll be VoID to win in regulation, barely. But as always, I have been your caster, the producer, and everybody that does everything behind the deck, because me. But still, I said this before, if these start to do well again, I may return to console and bring a full producer team with me just because, you know, why not? The PC thing is just getting a little stiff while we wait for more Tier 3 events. Other than that, have a great night. Make sure to follow if you guys did enjoy. We will see you guys in the next cast, which should be tomorrow, I'm hoping. We don't know. We don't care because all that matters is I will be back soon, and I feel like that's all you guys need to know.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. If you're seeing things running through your head, who can you call? Ghostbusters! An invisible man sleeping in your bed. Oh, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. afraid of no ghost. Who you gonna call? If you're all alone, pick up the phone and call. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Ooh, I hear it likes the girls. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Who you gonna call? If you've had a dose of the freaky ghost, baby, you better call. Ow! Let me tell you something. Bustin' make me feel good. I ain't afraid of no ghost. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Don't get caught alone, no, no. When it comes to your door, unless you just want some more, I think you better call. Ow! Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? I think you better call. Who you gonna call? I can't hear you. Who you gonna call? Louder, louder, louder. Who you gonna call? Who can you call? It likes the girls too.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from its slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster
the
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It was all in a
he
flash.
did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From a laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash,
They did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
they did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included the Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rough.